Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Koopalings, and welcome back to the Nintendo Shack. My name is Donnie Reese, and tonight we record episode 108 of the Nintendo Shack podcast. And this one is all about my Pokemaniacs out there playing Pokemon Sword and Shield. Before we get into all of Pokemon's newest adventures, let me welcome my co-hostess with the mostest. What's up, Caroline?
What's up?
How you doing, girl? You doing good?
It's been a really busy week. We
Really?
got off Shack last week, and I got notification that my aunt had passed away. And even though I'm not close with her, it's just been family drama.
Still
all
stuff.
week, which is extremely exhausting.
Still stuff you have to go and do and all
Yeah.
that. So we welcome a guest over here from IGN, Michael. First attempt, Kazara? No.
At least he's honest.
We tried.
Close. It's Polish, but I use like the English version. Kazwara.
Kazwara.
Yeah.
Got it. Michael Kazwara, IGN freelancer. All right, so I invited you to come by the Nintendo Shack because you wrote the guide for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now I
wrote the walkthrough. Yes.
Yes, and this is in addition to a lot of other walkthroughs you've been doing freelancing for them for quite a while now.
Yeah, a lot.
So we definitely have an expert, but to introduce you properly, you've got work that you've produced, featured, reviewed over on Kotaku, on Game Explain, on Nintendo Life, on IGN. You're everywhere. You got a lovely gif of Greg, Greg, and kind of funny over there trying to say your name over and over again. So I've made the reel. Apparently, I tried.
Nice.
Yes, you did.
It took me forever to learn that Mike I can't even say his name.
Good job.
The Duke basketball
The
coach.
Duke coach. There you go.
I
Okay.
thought it was Krzyzewski.
Mike, but before we get into our show proper, why don't you just introduce yourself to our listeners, who you are, what you do, where they can find you, all that good stuff?
Sure. Yeah. So you kind of talked about where you'll find me online, mostly. Beyond just kind of like the games media stuff, I have a YouTube that I do. I stream every week. I do like custom Banjo-Kazooie levels. Kind of cool.
Oh my gosh. You and Jacob Rush.
Oh no, don't say that.
Immediately.
Yeah, I'm also on Twitter at Super Zambazy. I play games. I don't. What was the question again?
That's it. Just introduce yourself, and just let us know. Thank you for dropping by the Nintendo Shack. Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we're going to begin our show like we do each and every week by thanking our patrons, and we've been doing it most recently in a very odd way where we do our patron Mad Lib. So I'm going to let you participate, Michael. This Mad Lib comes from Pokemon Mad Libs. And this one is titled Ash's Pikachu. So, panel, I need an adjective.
Beautiful.
Nice. I need another one. Caroline.
Blue.
Michael, I need a noun.
Fork.
It's hard on this one.
I love that I don't have to do it because I know how hard it would be to just get hit with something. You're like, ugh. Caroline, I need a color.
Well, I just gave you a color, so switch out my blue for matte. M-A-T-T-E, like matte.
Got it. Michael, give me a number.
72.
He gets all the easy ones. Caroline, I need a part of the body. Family-friendly show.
Brain. You asked the most squeamish person for
Michael,
a
I
part
need
of the
an
body.
adjective.
Bodacious.
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 Caroline,
Caroline,
Bill and Ted.
I need a silly word.
Well, he just did it. Snarfblat to my Little Mermaid friends.
Give me a patron name, Caroline.
Devontius.
Oh, what a fitting one to use on this episode.
Oh my god.
I need a plural noun. Like,
A Jedi. I don't know.
is Jedi plural?
Jedis?
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 I imagine it would have to
Plural.
be Jedi. Like
Or
the
it could-
Jedi, or he's a Jedi.
Or maybe it's Jedi. A-E.
I love that we make fun of that. That's fantastic.
Well, it's like alumni, right?
yeah.
Alumni is a plural, and then alumna is. It doesn't really apply.
Caroline, give me a verb.
Cutting or cutted. Cut. Just say cut.
I will say whichever one reads best.
Yeah.
I need another plural noun.
Oh, controllers.
Yeah.
There you go.
I look around at everything on my stuff too.
I need an adjective. We're almost done.
Soft.
I need a verb.
Walked. I don't know.
I love like you're not alone. Every time we do this, the guest answers in such hesitation.
RJS was the bomb. He knew exactly.
He was very good. All right, and give me one more patron.
Another patron. Edwin Callow.
Hello. Ash's Pikachu. I'm sure you've heard of Pikachu. Ash's beautiful Pokemon. Like most Pikachu, it has a plump, matte body with a red fork on each cheek. It has blue tips on its ears and 72 stripes on its brain. Ash's
Wow.
Pikachu may have evolved from the bodacious Pichu and could evolve into a Raichu, which is quite like a Snarfblat. But Ash's Pikachu likes itself just as it is. Professor Devin Tyus gave Pikachu to Ash when he was 10,
Nice.
and they've been the best Jedi ever since. even though Pikachu is very cute, it can also cut really well. Using the power of electricity, Pikachu can do all sorts of controllers to defeat other Pokemon in battle. Some of its soft moves include Thundershock, Iron Tail, and Walked. So Rock Ruff, Bound Sweet, or Callow, you better watch out. Pikachu is here. Pika.
All right.
That's it.
Well
there you
then.
go, patrons. Thank you for supporting us and all the support that you show us over at patreon.com/PSVG. You guys are the reason that PSVG House Party is happening at E3 this upcoming year, and we couldn't be more excited. But let's get into the show proper. Michael, what we typically do to start the show is to talk about what we've been playing. Obviously, you are here for a reason. We invited you here for a reason. We've all been playing Pokemon Sword and Shield. And we've got some questions, we've got some things, we've got some talking points. But before we get into all that, I just want to know who's in your party, what's your time played, and just what's your general impressions so far? How far did you play? How are you enjoying it so far? So, Miss Caroline, please begin.
Yeah. As I said, it's been a whirlwind of a week. On top of that, there's been a lot of anniversary stuff going on in WoW right now, so I'm really sorry, guys. I haven't even made it to the 3rd gym. But as I was telling Mike, I like to 100% areas as I'm going through. So I will catch every Pokemon on the certain route and then move forward. So today on stream, I was doing a stream for 2 hours, but I was looking for several Pokemon that had a 5% spawn rate, you know. I did a few raids with Benji. But as of right now, my impressions of the game are that it's wonderful, aside from some internet lag that is just, I find, can be remedied by turning off internet while you're in the wild area, obviously. I have not gone into the camping mechanic very much. It's adorable that you get to play with your Pokemon and make them fetch and play with a little feather. It's like a cat. But I haven't actually gone into all of the stat, boosting things. You can barely gain a lot of experience by doing camping. You can also do curry, the curry cooking thing. I haven't done any of the curry stuff. I will eventually, want to 100% the curry thing. I'm going to want to get every single recipe and all that stuff. But Right now, I just am focusing on getting all the Pokemon and beating the game, and then we're gonna do all that stuff post game, shiny hunting, and all that stuff. So I've probably only played it maybe 10 hours tops, which is not like me. I beat Let's Go within a matter of 3 days.
Yeah.
So this is not like me. It's just been kind of a weird off week. Now next week I'm off completely for the whole week during Thanksgiving, so I highly expect that I'm gonna have beaten it by then.
Did you see that Drew in our Discord beat this game like the day it came out?
I mean, I saw somebody had a full Pokedex within 24 hours.
I love Mike.
It was unbelievable.
Mike's response. Yeah, he posted on our Discord 2 a.m. He said, I slept for 5 hours and beat the game.
Yeah, it's like, how do you sleep? Do you sleep?
Total playtime was roughly like 22 hours, so it was pretty, I guess it's pretty straight through.
I mean, if you go straight through the story, yeah.
He said he was going to replay it. Okay, who's in your party, Caroline?
Well, currently, I don't want to say my current party because it's going to change immediately. But I've decided on my final 6 being a Galarian Rapidash for the Fairy and Psychic, Scentiscorch for Fire and Bug, Toxtricity for Electric and Poison. I'm keeping Thievul because I love Thievul and it's a dark type. Dreadnought for Water and Rock. Who is my last one? I can't remember.
Did you say your starter?
I abandoned my starter. I took Scorbunny and Lou.
I did the same thing.
Dadgummit. I can't remember who my 6th one is. It'll come to me. Corviknight. Flying and Steel.
Awesome.
So, yep. The only single type one I have is Thievul, just because Nickit and Thievul is pretty amazing.
I do like Nickit. Okay, my starters are Butterfree, Corviknight, Pikachu, Growlithe, Gengar, and Gyarados. And I would have evolved my Pikachu and Growlithe today, but I have not had a chance to play with them. All right.
Very Gen 1 of you.
Yeah, it's very Gen 1 of me. So, Mike, because you don't know, I always play this way. I go and find my favorite Pokemon before I even really start the game, and then I just play with those. I'm not the catch 'em all type. I am go find my party type. My favorite Pokemon's Cubone, but he's not in the game, so I'm replacing them. But I also replaced my starter. I actually was doing the surprise trades. I got 3 starters. Somebody in the surprise trade sent me a Scorbunny and a Sobble, and I traded them off too.
Oh,
those starters have high value on the trade market. So I was like, all right,
be doing surprise trades.
let me go get. Oh, I've been doing surprise trades like just constantly. Actually, like the entire time I'm playing, I'm constantly rolling the little slot machine, waiting to see what pops out on the other end.
I've heard that you can obtain the other 2 starters later in the game. Now, I know Mike will know this because he wrote the walkthrough.
Yeah. I don't think so. Unless
Really?
it's at the very last thing you do,
Oh,
then I don't think so. Because are we transitioning to me or
Not
should
yet. Not yet.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Because that goes into my how long I play.
All right, so here's what I wrote down. Here are my impressions on the game. My first thing that I wrote down was streamlined. The game is incredibly, incredibly streamlined, more so than any Pokemon game that we've ever played. The amount of Pokemon, I was so excited when I got Rookidee so early, and Nickit for that matter, because I could just get rid of my starter. I wasn't clinging to it because it was my highest, leveled Pokemon. I could get rid of it and swap out my party so fast. You get into the wild area so fast. You have a lot of customization for your party very, very early into the game, and I can't remember any other Pokemon does that. Being able to access your box whenever you want and not constantly go back to the Pokemon centers. Being able to fast travel so early without having to constantly go back to the Pokemon centers to heal. But even then, you don't need to do that. Being able to camp and cook dishes and heal your Pokemon. You don't have to leave. You could just stay where you are, pop a tent, do that. What else did I write here? The Pokemon abundance. Oh, and the raids. The raids and the jobs. Being able to level up Pokemon. So I've just
done Poke Jobs either.
I'm playing Shield. I just finished the Ghost Gym, and I'm on my way, I believe, to the Fairy Gym. Does that check out, Mike? Mm-hmm. There you go. And so I just got my Pikachu, and I traded for the Pikachu, and the Pikachu was level 1. Most of my Pokemon are in level 30s right now. So I want to play with Pikachu, but he's all the way at 1.
Whoa. Where's Ghost after Fire? Is that number 4 and 5?
That's me. I don't know the numbers, but I'm on Shield, and you go from Fire to Ghost.
My Pokemon are level 30.
Okay. Good.
Just saying. I was wrecking shop through the first 2 gems. I like to be over leveled.
So do I. And one of the things that I really like to speak to the fun of the raid in the wild area, I played this game for 8-10 hours before I ever even went to a gym. I had no like even interest in even doing so. I was like, I became very determined once I saw all of the options to get a team that I really wanted.
Right.
And to start leveling them up and get them like where I wanted them to be. So extremely, extremely streamlined. It's faster than ever. I guess that's why people are being able to beat it faster than ever. I don't know. One of the questions I have for Mike is how long most people can expect to play this game. Because I played Sun and Moon, I want to say 45 hours. What's my complete playthrough, like finish the game, roll credits on it. And I expect that I'll do it faster this go around than that.
Yeah, I think so. I'm actually a really bad person to ask because I did the walkthrough.
Right.
I played like, okay, play here, now right, and the game runs. So my
Right.
total hours is very inaccurate to how much I was actually playing. And I think because it's so streamlined, you'll have people who, like in the Discord, beat it in one day, where you just blast through everything. And then there's people who will just like Caroline, you'll take every single minute in every single spot. So it's just so hard to pinpoint an exact time. Everyone's going to have a way different time. I guess 20 hours at least if you're going to power through.
Straight story.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Let's see here. I do want to talk about some of the differences. Mike, you tell me about your experience, and then I'll get into some of my cons or nitpicks.
Sure. So I got sword, so things will vary a little bit, not too much. I have a party of Sobble. I got Surfetched, mainly because he looked really cool.
Yeah, he does.
So
Farfetch'd
jealous.
and all
I need
that.
to get one.
I also have a Corviknight, which I knew right from the beginning when they announced that Pokemon.
Absolutely.
Like, that's in my party.
Yeah.
I did not realize that it would be the standard generation bird that like every generation has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I got, what was it called, Rookidee?
Yeah.
Did not realize that's what evolves into
I see.
Corviknight. I just kept them around, and it just happened. So
Yeah, yeah.
happy. I also have Flapple, the grass and dragon.
So Flapple is sword exclusive,
Yes.
and the Appleton is shield exclusive.
Yes.
I was under the impression originally that it was a 3-tier evolution, but I think that's pretty interesting that Applin evolves into different things based on the exclusive or on the version that you have, and you have to have an item with it, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yeah. There's a specific spot in the game where someone will give you an item in one version. It'll be the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want I don't know, I got the right one. The dragon one looks cool. The other one looks like
so much better.
turtle, apple pie looking thing.
It's
I don't
cute,
need that.
but at the same time, the Flapple one is awesome.
I also have Boltund,
Yep.
electric puppy, and
Yeah.
then dog.
Yeah.
So awesome. And I also have Centiskorch. I called it the spicy flatbread Pokemon. I just
That
love it
sounds
so
about
much.
right.
Dude, it looks like a Chinese dragon, like just on crack. I don't know. It's pretty awesome. I love the whiskers
Yeah.
that it's got.
And then it
Super
has
cool.
that Gigantamax version, which
I know. I got to get one.
that's actually a pretty big downside for this game, is that the Gigantamax version of Pokemon are separate things that you get at like raid battles, and that just kind of sucks. Like I wanted the good Centiskorch, but
Sure.
I already started with this one. I stuck with it till the end. So, yeah. Initial impressions. I think it's a great game. I think it's a great Pokemon game. I don't think it's anything revolutionary. It's what I would expect for the next iteration of Pokemon, knowing the changes that happen from generation to generation. You got your improvements and little quality of life upgrades, but I don't think it was the crazy revolutionary console Pokemon that a lot of people imagined.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, like if you like Pokemon, like you are going to have a great time. This is another great Pokemon game. So
I'd 100% back that up, and that's a great segue into some of my nitpicks that we can just go ahead and break down. So I wrote a column here, and I wrote, I wish. And I just made a few bullet points here. So I wish the game looked a little better. My initial impression when I first booted up the game was, man, it's kind of edgy. Like, it's
Those
just
textures on the hat. Mm.
And I think it's a town thing. It's like the overworld. It's one of the things that I noticed, because I stopped playing on the dock and I started playing portably. Just felt like I was able to deal with it more when I was playing in handheld. It's softer. Doesn't have as high resolution, but like that softness kind of hides a lot of like the edginess that I think I was seeing in all the jagged lines. I think it's like a people person, because when you play the battles with the Pokemon and it's just kind of you and the Pokemon and the other trainers, they look good. The cutscenes look good. Everything's nice and sharp. It's like the overworld, and especially people. When people aren't like right next to you, you can barely even see their face. Like you can't, it's like just faceless people like standing around and stuff. It's like,
I'm trying to think. I mean, I totally understand what you're talking about. It's just, I don't know. It's probably the fact that I'm right up on my 1080p monitor, and I don't see that. You're also wearing glasses.
I also said it definitely didn't help that the first thing I did when I put the game is I put it in the dock, and it blew it up on my 70-inch 4K TV. And I was like, well, this is probably not the best way to do this. But playing in handheld, and by the way, I did write this to soften my stance a bit. I'm not saying the game looks bad. I think the game looks great. It's got a great style. This is absolutely the best looking Pokemon game they've ever made. I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
But my imagination, before release, before seeing it, this is brand new. It's the Switch. It's console. It's coming back to TVs. I just wished it went it's like a half step behind. If it could just be a little more round, a little more poppy, I think the entire presentation might benefit from it a little bit.
Yeah, and it's weird because there's a town before the fairy gym called Balloonlia or something like that, and it's gorgeous. I love that place. It looks really, really nice. And then you step into the like wild area, and you're just kind of like,
everything's just kind of
a little different. Yeah,
little grass textures and stuff. You're like, what is this?
And it makes sense because that's a big open world type segment.
Sure.
So that makes sense that it's not as pretty as some of the more stationary locations. But I don't know. It's just it.
You want it to stay consistent, pretty much.
Yeah,
Not,
and like you can see that it's possible. It is very possible to make this game look really good, but yeah, like you said, there are just moments where it's not there, and it doesn't make it a bad game. It's just
definitely not.
Would have been better.
I also wish, speaking of the wild area, that the frame rate was a little better. Like the frame rate, especially after you get the bike. You start biking through there.
I have noticed frame rate on this game. It's like the first time that I've actually, but like I said, I think a lot of it has to do with online.
It is because it's like, as weird as this analogy is going to be, it's like this shared world experience of the wild area. It's like this Destiny Tower type thing where you see other Pokemon trainers running around and stuff, and makes you wonder like if this is like what they have in mind. Some way down the line where we have like this shared
Pokemon
world
RPG MMO.
But then like you and your friends can go off like an Anthem thing and do a mission together, or do a gym together, and then come back to this shared experience. That's kind of what's going on. I also wish in the wild area, I really don't understand why they did this. So maybe having an expert here to explain this to me. I don't like that we can't catch higher level Pokemon in the wild area. I'm sure I, like many other trainers, probably took down a Pokemon I wasn't supposed to. I got that Onix my first way through. I had him ready, and I was not happy that I couldn't catch it. I understand not wanting to break the balance of the game and give trainers Pokemon that are higher leveled, but if you can't make them listen to you anyway, what does it matter if you catch them? Like it's, and I only say it because the wild area itself, right? You have all these random encounters, these Pokemon running around. It's this live world. When I first walked into the wild area and I saw that Onix, and I've tried to do Rhydon, Snorlax, Corviknight, like there's a bunch of them in there, I got really excited that I was like, ooh, I can go and try and test my party. Like this is a challenge that I can choose to do or not. And when I did the challenge and I beat the Pokemon, the fact that I couldn't catch it, I was like, it's kind of made me just avoid them at this point. So now I'm like, why even? Because the wild area also levels up with you. You know, so it's just like, why am I even going to try this so much anymore?
Okay, hold on, because this is news to me. I did not know that if it was a strong-looking Pokemon, you're not allowed to catch it.
Well, I mean, some you can, but it's based on levels. But especially like that early time in, You can't
Right.
because they're 35 or higher, and you've got to have 2 or 3 badges before you can catch those types.
All right, so yeah, they scale up and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
where does that top out?
That I don't know, and so like
70?
I can leave now. I can leave and go back to that original area, and I can go catch the Onyx that I didn't catch the first time, and he's still level 29 or whatever.
Okay.
Right, but now that I'm level higher, now other higher level Pokemon are spawning in the area as well.
Right.
So like I never saw a level 50 Corviknight until I just beat the fire gym, and all of a sudden I've seen like 3 of them around. So and it's just
I don't like that mechanic. It makes it not cakewalk.
I don't think that letting you catch that Pokemon makes it a cakewalk. If anything, it adds a level of challenge to the experience that it doesn't currently have.
Yeah, eventually you will be on par. Michael said that it
Yes.
is at level 60 is when it caps out. So it's kind of more of a post game thing. If you had to ask, like by level 60 or 70, you should have a full team that's beaten the gym or all the gyms in the Pokemon Champion, and you should be Pokemon Champion at that point.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those situations where there's no good solution, because if let's say they did let you catch the Onyx and other high level Pokemon, I guess it might be just confusing for maybe new players or people who just don't really understand how it works. They're like, hey, I got this really great Pokemon, I'm taking him with me, I'm going to the next gym, and then wait,
It doesn't
actually,
listen to me.
Yeah.
I can't use it. Like, what was the point? I just caught this new team of 6 that I thought was really great, and
Sure.
well, it's for nothing. So you could let people do that, maybe give a big warning, like you really can't use it, but you can hide it for a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
there's no good solution.
Maybe
You
like
definitely
their
don't want.
names in the box and stuff. Maybe they'd be grayed out until you could listen, until they could obey you.
Yeah,
or
maybe
something like that.
like that.
What's the
Possible.
point if you can't catch him? Like, what's the point? Just to test your metal,
It
just to
looks
see if you
cool.
can? Yeah, just to see
To-
the giant Onyx.
It really is kind of like an MMO experience, because there are certain bosses out in overworlds of MMOs that if you're a certain level, you just don't go near, because you know it will aggro you and completely mow you down.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to give it that MMO experience. Benji and I said immediately when we first, saw the wild area, it's literally Pokemon MMO. That's what they were going for, and I think that it comes across very well, albeit a little bit laggy. But I kind of enjoy the, oh my god, I don't want to go over there because I know I'm going to get my butt kicked, and I don't even want to attempt to do anything that's going to put me in jeopardy. So I guess there's that going for it.
Yeah, like there's that Snorlax across the bridge. I remember when I ran into it.
I ran into him today, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to die.
And now I know, well, not anymore because I already beat it.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Yeah.
back then I knew that, hey, there's that Snorlax. I need to come back and get it later. I have this thing to look forward to, that there's this really cool Pokemon sitting right there. Just I need to be a little bit higher and I can come back.
Yeah.
Just something nice to look forward to.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
The last thing that I wrote here, and this would probably be my biggest knock on it. The other ones are pretty nitpicky, but this one, I gotta tell you, I ain't got a whole lot of love to try and defend it much. The story in this game is just kind of whatever. Maybe because, Mike, you've beaten it, maybe it gets a lot better, maybe there's some twists, but through the Ghost Gym, man, I really don't care.
No.
Okay.
It doesn't really get better,
Okay.
but I have never liked any Pokemon story.
So I really liked the Pokemon Sun and Moon story.
Sun and Moon story was
I thought they were really
good for me too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. And maybe I don't like it because it's so clogged up with all this text and all these people just
True.
talking and talking. I think that's actually something they really improved in this game. Well, maybe not really improved, but it's a little bit better. Like minus Hop, the people just talk a little bit less.
Yeah, that's true. They're a little more brief. You just kind of spam
Yes.
right through
Now-
it. Yeah.
And completely opposite of that, I love that they're throwing in your actual rivals kind of berating you while you're fighting them. It's like, oh yeah, well,
Oh yeah.
your team's pretty good right now, but I'm about to pull out my trump card. Like they actually have some sort of back and forth lingo that I like that. I think that's, more than just here, go defeat this person, go defeat this person.
Yeah, and just to keep speaking about the story, I think having, and this isn't a spoiler because it happens right at the start, but the champion is right there front and center right from the start. In a lot of Pokemon games, it's kind of a question: who is the champion? Who's it going to be? But in this one, you know who that is throughout the entire thing, and I think that actually benefited that final battle. I just felt like I cared for that character more. Not that that character got this huge in-depth profile, but it just made that battle a little more special.
Sure.
And okay, well, I can't really get into that. I think that would be spoilers.
No, it's fine.
I think it's fine.
Fine is a good word. I literally wrote down the word vanilla. This is the most vanilla of story I've ever.
Well,
it is as basic gets.
I mean, who are they catering to? I mean, this is for your kids, Donnie. This is for Jack. I mean, and he's loving it, I'm sure.
You know, he's berating me about it because for some unknown reason, he thinks it's a race. I don't get it. He just constantly, he's like, you just got there, huh?
At that age, that's what we did in 3rd grade. So he's picking that up from somebody.
Yeah, to him, it's all a race of who beats the game fastest.
Did you get such and such?
But his Pokemon are not strong. Like, they're all like 8 levels behind me. And he's like, hey, I just caught Dreadnought. I'm like, yeah, I have 3 of them. Like, catch up, kid.
Wow.
All right. So we talked about the area. We talked about the wild raid or the max raids. Those are really cool. Me and Jack did play a lot of them co-op. Once Jack discovered that he gets candy and experience and is the most streamlined way to level up his Pokemon, now all he wants to do when he plays, like when we're like watching TV or watching Disney Plus, he's like, Dad, do you want to do raids with me? And we'll just sit there for like an hour and just constantly just go through raid.
That's going to be my
raid
post-game jive. Just absolutely, because Benji's doing it. He's already beaten the game. And he messaged me. He's like, hey, you want in on this raid? And I'll jump in and, join him for a raid. And the fact of just the fact that you can't obviously catch this thing, it will run from you. It's very much like Pokemon Go. You have a certain amount of chances to get the big boss Pokemon that you've defeated. And when you just don't catch it, it's kind of deflating. But at the same time, that's how I'm going to get my amazing Centiskorch eventually.
I think I got that one. You can just have mine if you want.
Gigantamax Centiskorch?
I think so.
Oh, I'm so jealous. We got wiped when Benji and I tried to do it.
I do like Dynamaxing. There were a lot of us said about Dynamaxing and whatnot, and I kind of like it. It's kind of awesome. Like the giant fat Pikachu was great. When I Dynamax with Pancham, who's kind of like my Cubone for this game, it's hilarious. So I kind of dig it. It's fun. It's a little something different. One of the things that I really like, good pro, the stadiums in this game, like just the atmosphere. If you're walking out onto the field, there's this huge crowd around you. It feels very like exactly what it's supposed to be. Very sports-like, very big. And then the fact that you Dynamax and it does become big, like it just adds a level of intensity that I think the Z moves like we're trying to do, but like for some odd reason, even though it's not like in the anime, the Dynamax makes sense. Like having played the game, I'm like, yeah, this fits in this universe.
Dynamax isn't in the anime?
I don't know if it is. I'm not an anime expert, but I never watched. Okay. I never saw a giant Pokemon when I look at the episodes that I've watched.
It literally just started like last week, so I kind of miss Mega Evolutions.
That's the thing. Like if just let's keep it all one thing. Z moves, Dynamax, just stick to one.
Yeah,
I would appreciate that too.
But like you said though, I was kind of dreading the fact that they were adding this feature, but actually seeing it in the stadiums is really cool.
Yeah,
it's just at this point, like I actually don't care for the gigantic max versions. If you could just Dynamax all of the normal ones, like that's fine. That's not a problem. Now we have these extra versions. Yeah. Can we somehow change those to Mega Evolutions in next generation?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something like that. I just like one unified system. I don't like all these million different forms. Ironically, I love like Galarian and Alolan forms though. That's really
I do too. Absolutely. That's a great alternative to let's design something brand new and just, get 100-something new Pokemon in this generation. I like seeing different forms, and it makes complete sense for like adaptivity to affect the different Pokemon on there. I love version exclusives. It's awesome.
It's already got me playing like it's the raids have already got me playing multiplayer, which I've never really played Pokemon multiplayer, as many Pokemon games I've played. So playing with Jack, I'm sure he wants to play with his friends at daycare and school and stuff like that. And yeah, and it's really, really cool. And the moves are like super powerful, man. It's just like some Dragon Ball Z stuff. The entire world cracks and explodes and stuff. It's really neat.
Oh, I did the water gym against Nessa, and electricity got on the ground, and I was like, this is a hazard to everybody in the stadium right now. It's just like, we probably need to clear out. When there's a football game and there's a lightning delay like 15 miles away, people are evacuated out of the stadium. What are y'all doing here? So
no kidding. There's like a water move that floods everything.
the whole area. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the next iteration of Pokemon. We have environmental effects where you see people wash away and like get electrocuted and stuff. First responders roll in, like it's a whole thing. The last thing I really want to talk about is we got 2 more bullet points here. Did you either? I know you did, Mike. Caroline, have you done anything with Pokejobs or the campaign?
I haven't. An NPC mentioned it to me today, and I was like, I completely forgot that this was a thing. So you access it through the Rotom computer in the PC, right?
Yep. And they list jobs that you can select, and like each job is like either like a type or a certain, like they'll give you a clue.
This is proof that I'm just generic Pokemon. I have my ways set from red and blue, and I know how the general game works, and I just haven't delved into doing the camping and just all these new mechanics. It's going to be like pulling teeth trying to get me to experiment, but I think by post game I'll definitely start.
Someone told me that it was a really good way of farming experience for the Pokemon that aren't in your party.
Right, and I do need to, because I'm one of those people that has to have one of everything in my box. That's a good way for the ones that I know I'm never going to have on my team. So Hetena, evolves into Hatterene. So I need to get at least 2 of them up to that. So I have one of each evolution. So I'll definitely use it.
They go on this like little Pokemon Quest type thing, and they shimmy off, and you can set like I just did my first one yesterday. I sent 6 Pokemon out on a quest for 24 hours because I'm not using them. I don't care how long they take. Sure. So I don't know what happens when they come back.
Oh, this is literally Pokepelago.
Yeah,
that's what
it's basically that. Yeah, and I was going to say that for me, I don't care for those extra things. I'm like a very basic Pokemon player. Unless I have to do a guide, then it's a little different. Then I have to care. Thankfully, maybe not thankfully for this discussion, but thankfully for my portion of the guide, because Pokemon is such a behemoth of a game, there's multiple people working on the guide, and I just focused walkthrough. And I only did some Pokejobs to help the other writer who was doing that. It's so basic. It's like
it is.
It's for those things that you talked about. Get experience. Sometimes they bring back money or some cool items. I got a Firestone one time.
Nice.
Great.
I need a Firestone. Your Firestone and Lightning Stone.
Because I am going to evolve every single color of Alcremie. So I need
That's a lot of colors.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's 9 different colors and 7 different suites. So I did the math. That's 63 different versions. I'm not doing that. I'm just doing the 9, but I picked out my favorite suites for each color. And Benji said, "You're crazy." I was like, I know.
The other thing that I want to talk about was trading. So like I said, the surprise trade, or the wonder trade thing that's in this game. Once I saw that was available, I just started doing it. And to be honest with you, it's kind of like a part of what I'm doing, especially when I'm in the wild area. Like when I'm actually just kind of exploring, I'm constantly doing it because I constantly have Pokemon that I don't want. And I'm just shuffling. I'm just hit the Y button, click through the menus, put somebody out there, see what comes back. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. I got a level 48 Impidimp, like 3 hours into the game for no reason.
Nice.
I don't know why somebody just sent it over, but that was really, really cool. I do miss like the trade system where you could you can't go in, or at least I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure you can't go in and say I have Pokemon X and we'll trade it for Pokemon Y in these certain scenarios. That's not available. So it's either somebody that's going to trade you, or you surprise trade. There's no in between. So if you followed me over on Twitter, you saw me this past week constantly launching out tweets for trades. I've got a score bunny. Who wants to give me a Pikachu? And maybe that's why they didn't do it, because maybe they knew people would do something like this. But I got to tell you, people answered the call. I got all my Pokemon in basically like 6 hours. I had all the Pokemon that I wanted. I was like, I need a Haunter, I need a Pikachu, I need a Growlithe, and people were like, I had this one guy for one of my score bunnies. He traded me Mr. Mime, Mr. Rhyme, and a Snorlax.
Nice.
He's like, you can have them all. I just need a score bunny so I can complete my set. And I was like, sure, absolutely, I'll take
I
them.
gotta do that. A lot of people that I have on Twitter are all playing this game, and especially for version exclusives, I've got the people that I know I need to go to for Sword. But in terms of getting every single one of those evolutions of the stars, especially, that's how I'm gonna do. And bless the breeders. Like I haven't done the breeding since Gen 6, but breeders, I applaud you because they're doing the Lord's work with sending out those Galarian Ponyta and Rapidash to people that want them, because there's a lot of people that want them.
Yeah. Mike, anything about the trading?
Yeah. So with Pokemon games, it's always they do some really cool stuff, and then they do things that's like, how is this intuitive? I don't understand. So like the Wonder Trade, and it's called Surprise Trade here. Like that's I've always loved that. They brought it back. Great. I love that you can just send out send it out and continue playing.
Yes.
That's great. That's such a great feature. But then something as simple as like what you said, the trade X for Y, that's gone. And
Yeah.
so yesterday I actually traded with a friend, and it was the first time, and we had to take a moment to figure out how it all works.
It's not super easy.
No,
it's
it's not.
It's like you do a link trade and you set up like a passcode, a 4-digit passcode,
Which anybody can take, by the way. So if you're like on Twitter and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm on 1111, anybody could just pop in right now. They
and
know
that's what
code you are.
happened. Is I put up a code and I was waiting for my friend, so I was waiting a few minutes, and someone connected. No, wrong person. Okay, we both back out. We both try the same code again. We both end up trying to trade with each other again.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's weird.
And it's weird because, like, with your friends and the friend list built in, you can jump into other people's raids. Like, you get alerted and you can click in, but you can't do that for trades. It's like, I'll see, like, Jack wants to trade a Pokemon. I can't do anything about that. There's no response for me to answer that call.
Right.
But I can on the raids, and that is kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I also do like the little stamps. Like if someone catches a Pokemon, one of your friends, like,
Those are cute.
I saw that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That is good.
Yep.
All right, guys. We've got some questions to answer that are mainly Pokemon related, but you guys have anything else you want to say, get off your chest about Pokemon before we get into the questions?
Hopefully I'll have more to talk about next week.
I am really glad that we brought Mike here because we've got some really good questions that an expert can answer. But the first one comes from Rebecca, and she wants to know what surprised you most while playing Sword and Shield.
Yeah, so you kind of already mentioned, I've got 3. You already mentioned the first one, the ability to check your box from anywhere. It's nice. I did not realize that you could do that before I got the game, so when I discovered it, it was great.
Yes.
The other thing, I love that wild Pokemon are actually wild, out and about, and they're all doing their own little thing, and you still have exclusive Pokemon that are in the shadows, the random encounters, or not random encounters. That's one of the big things that surprised me. There are really no random encounters. The shadows, you basically choose or accidentally run into them.
Right.
You could probably go through the game without ever doing a random encounter. Even the caves are free from that. That was
I know.
so great.
No need for repels anymore.
Exactly. And the other one, the new Pokemon. I love that they didn't just share every single new Pokemon before release. Playing through the entire game, I was constantly finding new Pokemon, new evolutions of the new Pokemon. It was great. I also didn't get spoiled at all from any of the leaks.
Nice.
So it was just all fresh and surprising.
Yeah.
So when I was playing, especially early on, I'd come across Pokemon, and I was constantly Googling through the Pokedex on my phone. I was like, I don't know who this is. I don't know what they evolve into. Like, this is the thing. That's how I found out Rookidee. I was like, this is the Corviknight bird. I'll keep this around. I'll keep working on this now. So those are really, really good. I'd back those up. What about you, Caroline?
The thing that has surprised me most is the music is dope. Oh my God. So, especially listening with headphones while I'm streaming, it's got that 80s like synth beat and bass, like in a lot of the tracks where you're doing battle and stuff. Like the battle music is awesome. I don't feel like maybe, when I'm looking the intro music for maybe the first 30 seconds while I'm going in and out and trying to find a sizzlipede, that can get annoying. I actually turned on my Renaissance music while I was getting annoyed with that because it was giving me a headache last week. But yeah, just like the tracks where you're fighting Marnie and the tracks where you're fighting Betty or Bede or however you say his name. Oh, they're so good. I was not expecting the music to be as awesome as it was. And it does take a lot from England and Ireland and Scotland. There's an area that I found today that had like a nice bagpipe theme going with it. And I was like, well, that's cool. But then there's also these areas that literally sound like you're down in the harbor slums, with the harmonica. I love the difference in all of the music and stuff. And every song that I've heard so far is just awesome. I don't know if Toby Fox had his hand in all of these tracks. I know he did at least one, but whoever's doing the music for this game, major props.
Cool. I'll keep it short. Just the raids. I think the raids are super fun. I like doing it. It's kind of like it's almost like a daily check-in type activity for me. Like when I sit down to play the game, I want to play it for more than 15 minutes, go to the wild area, do all the raids, clear all the things, and then go back and do what I'm supposed to go do. So I kind of like that a lot. Chalfie writes in, he wants to know, he says, I'm a boss at Pokemon Go, and I've enjoyed Let's Go, but Shield is my first real attempt at a Pokemon game since Leaf Green. And he lists 6 questions for us to answer. Okay. Do I need to catch them all? So my answer is no. Caroline's answer is yes.
I mean, I do, but you don't have to.
No. In Pokemon Go, yes. In this game, no.
No. He says he likes to battle. Which stats should he focus on when assembling team? This is a thing I don't pay attention to stats at all. I don't. Levels and types.
There's an IV checker that you can get after the game. Benji was working on it. You have to be rank 4, and it's only post game. So if you're really into getting the Pokemon that are just insane, get yourself the IV checker. But other than that, just focus on if you see one that's got that glowing effect on it, where it gives you the watts if you defeat it or catch it, those are the really good ones.
Yeah, and if you think, because you haven't played in a while, if you think that's like an important thing you have to do, absolutely not. Any Pokemon will do. That's just if you are really into it.
Yeah.
Is this the easiest Pokemon game to get in for newcomers? Like in your opinion, Mike?
Probably.
I would agree.
Probably, I think so. Like the XP share being enabled all the time, and
right.
The box link, the fast travel, like everything makes it very, very easy to pick this up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael, you take this one. Can he transfer from Let's Go to Shield?
Oh shoot! I was supposed to look that up before I came here. I believe you are going to be able to. I know that if you have a Let's Go save file, you get a Gigantamax version of Eevee or Pikachu. Mm-hmm. But transferring, I'm going to say right now, no.
That's
not
correct.
Until Pokemon Home is here or whatever that service is.
It's coming early 2020 is what they said.
And even with Pokemon Home, if you try to transfer in a Pokemon that's not in the game, in the Galarian region, you can't do that either.
Right.
So I'm still shocked, Caroline, that my idea of making Pokemon exclusive to certain raids is not something that they're doing. I don't this makes so much sense.
As much of a backlash, you figure they would be able to at least update the game.
Get some fan favorites?
And throw the model into the game in the upload files. I mean, like, it's not that hard.
Things can still happen, right? Like,
sure.
We could be doing that now.
I was sure when they were like, all the Pokemon are in the game, I would have bet my house. I'd be like, oh, they're going to have like exclusive like Pokemon months. Like, it's Cubone month. Get out to the wild area and go catch them. And
not even a month, just like,
keep people playing. Like the spirits and stuff. Keep them playing. Give them a reason to come back.
Yep.
Cannot believe they're not doing that. Chalfie wants to know what's your favorite thing about him, Caroline? Chalfie, I hope you're watching the video.
What's your favorite thing about Chalfie? Your inability to commit to coming on the podcast with us.
Nice.
I don't know.
I'll save you, Mike, and I'll just say his sweet skateboarding skills. He does these little streams on Twitter and stuff. He hits his thing. It's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good. All right, and he says, is there a wrong way to play? I'm sure Caroline would say the way I play is the wrong way to play this game.
complaining all the time.
I don't.
That's true.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else on the internet.
Is there a wrong way to play? No. Pokemon has so much to offer, and some generations I really get into the breeding. Some generations I get into the shiny hunting, and um, it's just what you want to do, dude. There's so many options for the hardcore people, for the people that are just casual players.
Chalfie, let me tell you something here. You find 6 to 8 Pokemon that you really love. You make them really strong, as in Coach Mo would say. You make little puppies into stronger puppies, and you go become the best Pokemon trainer in the world. And that's it. Like, then you're done. You're good to go.
No one ever was.
Mike, let you take this one, though. Is there anything you'd recommend that Pokemon players, they have to do? Is there something in your mind that all Pokemon players need to put on their to-do list right now in Pokemon Sword and Shield?
Like current players, like do
Just
whatever
anybody.
you want.
Is there
but
like some special thing, something that everybody needs to check out?
Check out. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, have a diverse team. Know your types. I always have like a type chart open.
Yes.
I mean, people say, "Oh, you're the expert." I have that thing open 24/7. There are like
There's too many to remember.
types. It's
Yeah,
no.
For me, I've been getting a lot of them reversed, but it's always the 4 purple pink ones that I forget. So fairy, psychic, poison, and
Ghost.
just like that ghost. They all affect each other in some way, but I always am just like, which one beats which one? Because they're all like in the same color realm. So
Once you get outside the card game, I got nothing. Okay. All right. John wants to know if either of you made it to the end game. That'd be Mike. And do you think it will continue to add value after the story is over? So, Mike, tell us about the end game. Is there enough meat on this bone?
Yeah, actually, so there is. The story kind of just keeps going as if it never stopped once the credits roll.
Oh, wow.
And I think you have like maybe an hour more, maybe a little over an hour, maybe 2 hours of content afterwards. And then you unlock one final thing that I actually haven't started. I don't think it's a spoiler. The battle tower.
Let me stop you here.
Right.
Apparently, we spoil all dreams for Pokemon or for Nintendo listeners everywhere.
Right.
We are the
Whatever,
spoiler podcast.
I mean, if you are a Pokemon fan, then you'd already be playing
Right.
before listening to this. I would hope.
That's true.
But yeah, there is value. So once it's over, there is still things to do.
Good.
Not crazy amount, like you'll keep you there for days. It's just the things that already existed, the wild area. Those are the things that will keep you coming back. But there is still value to continuing to play.
Cool. Blaze Knight writes in, he goes, the last time I played Pokemon Y, I felt so bogged down by the end of the game at the monotony of catching such a large number of Pokemon. Does the reduction in the overall number of Pokemon help alleviate the bloated feeling of previous titles?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I kind of think that not adding so many numbers to the decks and instead just making those Galarian or Alolan types gives it a bit of flavor. You're not making a huge installment, but you are changing up some of the previous iterations that it doesn't seem as stale to me. But then again, I like collecting them all. So the amount of Pokemon that are there, I'm going to get all of them anyway. And that doesn't bother me. I think you've got a lot of different Pokemon from all different generations in this game too. So you're going to see things from every region that we've seen previously. And if anything, I don't know. If anything, I feel like seeing things from the Gen 7 that we've just had. I'm just like, seriously, this one's in here? Because I just remember catching that, last year. I don't know. Monotony.
I've already said my piece. Like I don't catch them all. So I think my Pokedex right now is like around 70, and that's largely because I'm doing so many like surprise trades and stuff, and I'm getting new folks just popping in. But I also never felt that way playing the old games because of the way I play. I catch the ones that I want, and I level them up, and if I don't want to catch anything, I don't. So
yeah, this is the part of the whole controversy that I have a hard time grasping, because this game has a ton of Pokemon.
Yes.
400 is a ton of Pokemon. And if you look at past games, probably should have double checked, but if you look at past games, the region dexes, they're smaller. They're like 300 Pokemon, they're 200 Pokemon. And in those games, you're constantly running into the same Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think in this one, like the Squirrel, Greed, Vance, or something, you run into that one a lot. and maybe the little fox one too. But beyond that, you really don't run into the same Pokemon
Oh,
too
yeah.
often.
Especially
And
in the wild areas.
Yeah, because the wild areas are
Especially,
broken
yeah.
into regions, and they all swap out like with the different weather effects and
Weather-
stuff.
Mhm.
So they're constantly being like recycled, and there's something new to see every time you get there.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you think about like the national dex that's been cut go back to like Sun and Moon, if you beat the game and get the national dex, well, it's not like you're going to sit there and actually complete it. It's
Right.
almost impossible. I think it actually might be impossible to complete the full national dex. There are many Pokemon that you can only get from like transferring from Diamond
Transferring,
to
yeah.
Black and White, and then this whole process. So
Yep.
even back then, it was impossible to get every single Pokemon. So it sucks for people who want to bring old Pokemon back, but as it is, the 400 that we have, like that's more than enough.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So
I agree completely.
yeah.
I understand the controversy. Like
Yeah.
Rebecca made a good point. She has all these ribbons on her her Ninetales that she wanted to keep accruing the ribbons on. So luckily, there's a Vulpix in there for her. So Ninetales is in the game. But for those people that have gotten all these ribbons on all of these games prior, and they've just been porting it over and over and over again. Unfortunately, like the end of the road is there for some of them. And I understand the gripes in that regard,
Yeah.
but
Gotta rip the Band-Aid off somewhere,
there's a
guys.
shortage. Yeah. I fully expect that after this uproar, the National Dex is back next.
I hope not. I really. We've talked about it. We've given, in light of all the stuff that's happened after this game has come out and review scores have happened. I honestly don't even want to give it too much air. But I mean, we've talked about it, and just to say again, I like that they're doing this. I think it's a good move because I think it makes the Pokemon that are in the game slightly more special. And instead of constantly being able to get everybody in every game, you may have to pick and choose and go find the ones that you want. I think that's a good thing.
Quick question: based on what you just said, do you think that it was an intentional decision not to bring the Pokemon and not so much like a resource time?
I hope so.
Thing?
I hope that they're finding they're kind of. I would hope, in my impression, I think they're doing a little spin here. I think that they've wanted to do this for some time, and now they feel like they've got the ammo to kind of push it through, and they're going to take their lump on the chin here, and then like keep going forward.
Because I have to imagine that if they do the next game like a Sinnoh remake or the next like Ultra Sword or whatever,
Right.
I have to imagine that they are going to add more Pokemon to like the mix of 400. Does that mean they will also remove like
That's what I would
100
expect.
or so?
I would expect
That's going to
each
cost a
game
huge
to
upgrade
have,
too.
and I think like your whole National Dex thing is Pokemon Home. Like that's where that will live. And like once they get everything there, that's where you will complete your National Dex every time a new game comes out. You get the new ones and you put them in your Pokemon Home and you carry them around with you. And maybe they give you like a little mini game or a little experience something or a quest something you can do in that game. But the Pokemon games themselves will be centered around a select group of Pokemon. At least that's just been the spin I've been spinning. I don't know.
The amount of the volume of Pokemon just does not lend itself to bringing it. We're almost to 1,000.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable that I don't imagine anybody would want to waste their time getting 1,000.
Well, there definitely will be people
game.
that want to do that.
Sure.
There's always people that want to do everything like that, but
I'm one of those 100%.
you can't build those. You can't build a game for that.
No,
That's
just
not the
that
core market.
niche audience, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We have one more question. What is your biggest hope for the next Pokemon game? That comes in from Atma. I want to say that I hope that the visuals continue to improve, the performance continues to improve. This game plays, or I don't want to say plays is not the right word. It moves, you move your character around a lot like a 3DS game. It feels like a 3DS game, which is to say it feels like a Pokemon game. But I kind of hope they get away from that. Like I was playing on the TV and it was something that I noticed. You walk up, right, and you stand next to a person and you go to talk to them and they do like that awkward like turn where they both turn on each other. But there's no like movement. Or the thing that I made fun of during Sun, and it's still kind of here, although they've made it slightly better. If you teach any of your Pokemon dig, they just like
disappear.
aimlessly like sink into the ground. Like there's no digging motion or anything like that. Just make that a little more real. Like make the people like move, not such a tile based like point and click thing, but like get people moving around. I'd like to see people, more people actually moving around in the cities and stuff, doing things, shops open, close, all that different type of stuff, and just make it a little more livable, to brighten up and liven up the world a little is kind of what I was hoping for.
I would agree with that. I don't think it'll happen because that has been like my common complaint since
That's Pokemon.
when was the first 3D one? X and Y, but
Bare bones it. That's what they do.
I want to say it's bare bones, and at the same time, I realize that saying this is basically me saying I want the Pokemon game to be less Pokemon game. But I mean, I just think these would be improvements to the status quo. But you're right. This is what Pokemon is, and that's what it does. It's not like a limitation of the system or anything. It's just how they make these games.
I would have to agree with the animations need to be better. There's just I saw the Zacian Zamazenta thing where Zamazenta goes to turn and he's literally walking in place while he's turning, and I'm like, guys.
To be fair with that one, I think that's just very out of context. Maybe not out of context. Just that one moment that's really bad, and there are definitely other bad moments, but that's like the worst. And I think that's really the only other time it happens with that.
On the other hand, I'm extremely impressed with the amount of facial expression in your main character.
That's good.
As opposed to, Sun and Moon, where you'd have a very serious scene and they would show up like, hey, what's up? Completely expressionless.
Maybe the main characters, the side characters still smile. Like disasters happening and they're cool with it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
let's see here. How are we doing on time? We're an hour. Mike, let me ask you a question. You got a heart out?
Do I have to head out? No, not yet.
Okay. All right. Let's cover some news stories then. So this broke right as we were on air last week. As soon as we clicked off, I was like, man, Shovel Knight King of Cards and Showdown releases December 10th.
my amiibo are finally coming.
I'm glad that you're excited for the amiibo. People are excited about this game. You're like, amiibo! Yes!
I've had the 3-pack on pre-order since October of 2017. It's ridiculous.
That's true. It's been so long. This would have been a great way to answer the question last week about what to look forward to after Pokemon. You got some Shovel Knight stuff coming right around the corner. So that's really, really good. Caroline, this one is really aimed at you. There are 2 subscription plans coming to Animal Crossing Pocket Camp November 21st. I'm sure the pricing details came out. I haven't updated my notes or haven't looked up it since then.
I haven't even followed this.
But yeah, there's 2 subscriptions. What do you think about subscription stuff coming to Animal Crossing Pocket Camp? Instead of doing the microtransactions, now you just pay them on a timer.
I think the subscription stuff is probably going to lend itself to compatibility with New Horizons in some way. I think for the people that are really hardcore and they want that like compatibility or back and forth between Pocket Camp and the new game, I think that's what they're setting it up for. But it ain't for me, Chief.
We did get a question. Does it make you worry anything at all about Animal Crossing Horizons? You worried about them have some sort of DLC subscription plan?
Heck no. Okay, mobile is king, right? They know what they can do with a mobile game. They know that they can charge whatever they want for it, and people will, especially the Japanese are insane with mobile right now. It's just the amount of money that they spend on these kinds of games is unbelievable to me.
Animal Crossing is the perfect game to release mobile transactions. You can have certain styles of lamps, certain styles of sidewalks, certain styles of boots, certain styles of patterns. You got to pay a nickel for all of them.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, I wrote about this today, the subscription plan stuff.
Oh, fantastic.
It sounds all fine. I think it's a lot of like, oh, you don't have to wait as much, or you don't have to do...
You get extra data or something, or maybe it's to help with increased server space. Who knows?
Sure. It's just, I look at like Mario Kart Tour, for example, and it's, admittedly, I still play that, and I hate myself for that, but it's such a money grab. It's horrible.
That's why I had to stop everything.
I can't stop. I'm not paying anything, but I'm still there. It's horrible. But with this one, just based on the price and what it gives you, it's not like you're losing anything essential. It's you're gaining stuff. You are gaining the ability to collect stuff while you're not there. It's not a big deal. So it does not worry me about the Switch game at all.
Okay. All right, so this was the news story, and it's really not news. I just thought it was really, really cool, and I thought it'd be a great thing to talk about. All right, so eBay released some of their sales data last week. VentureBeat wrote an article about it, and it's very interesting, some of the stuff that they're doing. All right, the top 5 gaming systems and franchises, just video games that are sold on eBay for the last year: Nintendo Switch, Nintendo 64, Super Mario, Xbox One, and Call of Duty. So in September, customers bought on average 2 Nintendo Switch and 2 Nintendo 64 consoles per minute.
You know why the N64 consoles is because people are doing that HDMI modding. You remember when that came out last year?
Yep.
People are modding their N64s.
Their PR release, retro consoles are having a moment. The N64 consoles have spiked 205% year over year, making them a unique gift for nostalgic millennials. VentureBeat speculates that the reason the N64 is striking popularity is that Nintendo has filled demand on NES and SNES collecting with the Classics line, but not the N64 Classic that we were so hopeful for. So my question to the panel is, surely this must mean that Nintendo is missing out on a lot of revenue on an N64 Classic, and they've got to see this, right, and be thinking about it? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah. I mean, that's the case now, and I think that's the case before all this news too. I mean, if they had released an N64 Classic 2 or 3 years ago, it would do amazing. Like, it would do amazing now.
Yeah.
I think it also helps that the PlayStation Classic is a thing. I mean, let it be what it is, but it exists, and the N64 counterpart is not there. So I could see people kind of gravitating towards the actual original hardware if that doesn't exist. So this makes sense to me.
What about you, Caroline?
I mean, I would get an N64 Classic regardless. Yeah, they're missing out on revenue. God knows when we're going to actually have N64 games on the Switch, since we have just gotten a handful of Super Nintendo games.
I was going to say, what makes them more money? N64 Classic or N64 games added to Nintendo Switch Online?
Probably the Classic itself.
I think so too.
Yeah. Just because you've got people that are already paying for the online service, and how many people are actually going to be paying for online just for N64 games?
I just wanted to mod it. I just want N64 Classic so I can mod it. That's all I want. I just want to put all the games on it and have an external hard drive. It's all I've really ever wanted.
I think that an N64 Classic is coming, but
I don't.
The time gap between NES and when it released in 2016, and then the Super Nintendo's original release and when it released in 2017, that was quite a distance apart. You're only talking about, I mean, it's still quite a lot, but you're only talking about 25 years for the N64 as opposed to over 30 years for the latter two.
That's a good point.
So I think they need to let it age a little bit more before they bring out a baby. Yeah.
Like a fine wine. I took them at face value when they answered their investors' calls about them. I think the Classics line were done at a time where they were coming off the Wii U.
There was a logo that was in the
they needed a shot in the arm to raise some revenue. So they kind of just, I don't want to call it a cash grab, it definitely wasn't that. But it was an easy, as low-hanging fruit. We can make a lot of money right now, just put some ROMs out and do it. I think they realized that they can't go to that well too often without risking further, potential for Nintendo Switch Online adopters, new Switch owners. Like, that's a thing that you can't just, you classic everything and then all of those retro enthusiasts, there's no reason for them to have a Switch.
Yeah.
So you want them to buy the more expensive Switch thing. So I don't think we'll have one anytime soon, but I really wish we did. Why couldn't they have done this a few years earlier and gave us the N64?
When it came out, 96. Give it till 2022. It'll be 25 years old.
Well, I know we talked about this ad nauseum when all the rumors were running, but
21,
much of that library is also like licensed stuff.
That's just
a huge portion of it. It's be harder to do that than the SNES.
Stuff that you have to get.
You can't
from Microsoft. Yeah,
I don't think you can. Like, that'd be very, very difficult to get all of it. To really do. I mean, because there were the I'm not sure if you saw it. I was watching a video last week. Do you know that there was the remake game of Nintendo or of GoldenEye, like a completely fully remastered GoldenEye 007 that couldn't get released because they couldn't get the licenses.
Yeah.
You know, so like I just don't think that stuff is really possible
People
these days.
also don't realize that the majority of games on the Switch were those, third-party games that you can't get. And there were only about 200 titles released for the N64. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
So expecting 20 to 25 like you had on
That's tough.
these Nintendo, Super Nintendo ones, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably be closer to maybe 15 tops.
And in the time that we've talked about this, how many N64s have been sold? 2 per
Something
minute?
crazy.
That's
I
quite
have
a
2
bit.
on my shelf over here. We have 2.
That's going to do it for us this week over here on the Nintendo Shack. Mike, thanks so much for coming by, man. I really
Yes, we
it's
appreciate
honored to have you come by. Let us in on your Pokemon talk. Is there anything else you'd like to plug while you're here?
No, I think I've said everything. Thank you for contacting me. This was so out of the blue. I was like, oh yeah, I'm like in the Pokemon zone. I will gladly talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, very good. Caroline, is there anything you'd like to part with before we go?
No, I'm going to see Frozen 2 tomorrow. So my Frozen, yay! I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm not streaming.
I'd like to thank all the Shack listeners that submitted questions and heeded the call for our contest. And I can let you know that I put in the randomizer. Rich, you have won the Fire Emblem DLC expansion pass. I will reach out to you on Twitter with the code and let you claim that right away. Thank you, everybody. I know we've got 17 questions here that remained unanswered, so we will work them in shows to come, week after week, as we head through Thanksgiving and everything. Keep playing Pokemon, all you Pokemaniacs.
Yep.
That'll do it for us this week on the Nintendo Shack. See you next week.
Bye.